June 28, 2022, my Mac II motherboard has returned home. It's been on a one-year journey, one-year odyssey, as I've tried to get it working again. So when I first took out my Mac II about a year ago, it wouldn't start. And that's pretty common if the batteries on the Mac II motherboard, and this is an unusual configuration, a good configuration, they're usually soldered. If the batteries are bad, the Mac II won't start. I'm pretty sure this problem is unique to Mac IIs. I can't think of any other Macintosh that has the same problem of not being able to start without a good battery. And so I wasn't, at this point I wasn't concerned that anything was wrong with the Mac. So I sent it off to be recapped, to have new capacitors installed. That's just a good preventive measure. And when I got it back, it seemed to boot, but I got no video. And so I tried different video cards and just couldn't get it to do anything. So I sent it to a fellow in Rochester who had some diagnostic abilities, and he wasn't able to figure out what was going on, but while it was there I had him replace the SIM sockets. The SIM sockets that came with this originally had plastic ears, unlike these which have metal ears, and the plastic ears break off, and so then you end up with loose SIMs, and that just screws everything up. So I had him replace those. When I got it back, he wasn't able to find the problem. When I got it back, same thing, the computer would boot, but there was no video. I mean, I knew it booted because of the amount of time, the amount of drive noise and time it took for the computer to start up. And I think that clicking around with the mouse got some beeps too. I don't recall exactly. So then I was stuck. I didn't know what to do. So I talked to the fellow who rebuilt my power supply for my Mac II, and he agreed to take a look at it. So I sent the board to Austin, and he fiddled around a little bit, and he found that when the computer started up, that it would, I guess there 4 of the lines in the new bus connector showed activity, but some other lines that should have showed activity showed none. And so something was wrong with new bus. His initial thought was that one of these custom chips here, and there are 12 of them, his initial thought was since these chips are the first logical layer back from the new bus connectors, that there must be something wrong with those. So I went on a search for a donor, a chip donor, and I found one in San Jose. So this is, there are several versions of the motherboard, and in the newer version, instead of these 6 dual inline packages, they just have a couple square custom chips. Also, they don't have these electrolytics here, the newer ones. So this is an older version. I found an old one, an old motherboard in San Jose that was in really, well, in a computer that was in really awful condition. It was all rusted and looked terrible, and it was going to cost me about 130 bucks. And so initially I didn't buy it. I tried to get the price down a little bit, and I don't know, after 6 months I finally bought the damn thing. One reason I bought it was that it had this daughter card, the battery daughter card. So the problem with the original design is that the holes for the soldered batteries aren't on the right centers for sockets, so you can't just desolder the old battery, drop a socket in, and be good to go. The only way to install sockets properly is with this little daughter card. And so luckily the San Jose Mac II had the daughter card, and in spite of the fact that basically all the steel in the case was corroded, somehow the battery sockets were not corroded. So that's cool. So the guy in Austin received the motherboard from San Jose and started poking around, and before he started desoldering these dips and moving them to this board, he swapped the ROMs. He moved the ROMs from the San Jose board to this board, and lo and behold, the computer booted. So I kind of wonder if maybe the ROM wasn't a victim of static discharge during recapping or something like that. but you can see that the pins are a little bit corroded compared to these pins. These pins look nice and bright, but these are kind of dull. So he got the computer working again, and we looked into the FPU and the SWIM chip. Well, it's not a SWIM chip, the predecessor to the SWIM chip. I can't remember what it's called. But so then I started looking at different permutations of chips and decided that that was a fool's mission, trying to find the ideal combination of chips. So I just went with the default configuration, which luckily was the same on both the San Jose board and this board. So anyhow, so I finally got it back, and I am really looking forward to putting it in the case and firing it back up. This is, I don't think this is my original Mac II. That I bought in 1987. Well, it's copyright 1987. I guess this might be my original Mac. I bought two Mac IIs. Man, were they expensive back then. Really expensive. Well, they're not worth anything. But I like them. So, I'm going to put it back together, and maybe I'll make another video.